to the bold analysis. Gladys Wanga tongue must be tamed. And the tragedy is that the person who was supposed to tame her tongue is lying somewhere dead in Bondo. And I want to ask, why would someone harbor hate against former President Uhuru Kenyatta? And his only sin was to mourn Raila Odinga. Was it his making for him to be cheered and received well at Odinga's funeral? And in this podcast, I want to speak to you so that we look at why you must really join the call to call out those who are pushing this narrative. What for? And I'll demonstrate to you that this is a well-choreographed scheme that is involving several other players. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our videos, and thank you very much for supporting this podcast. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm rallying you yet again. One of our subscribers shared with me video of Bildad. Bildad, as you see here, is crippled. And it is not because he was born that way. He got involved in an accident that iliharibu spinal cord and was then had to survive on wheelchair. But after that, the wife was supposed to help disappeared. Came to do some job in Nairobi here, kazi za nyumba, and remarried. So he was left with 4 children. So the way he is, he has to take care of 4 children. And it has not been easy. The person who shared this video to me told me that he was in a bad state. So this is what Bildad calls his home, his house. He lives in this structure na wale watoto somewhere in Migori. So I sent the team, David, Kawira, Tracy, Amboy, and the team, just to do, and they're camping in Migori so that we can build a house for this single father, Bildad. This is the situation. Something that warmed my heart is, hata mtu alinitumia video, ni he goes kuvenda kufanya kazi. Like kunaona hapo hiyo amelima. Analima hapo, ameenda kulima. Hata kwa hiyo situation, analima hizo mashamba. Na hata anafanyia watu kazi. There's something called amali. Amali is where you go to weed for people. Anaenda nafanya, and so that he can take care of his children. After school, these children pia wanaenda wanasanya mawe, wanagonga, wanatengeneza kokoto, and that is how they survive. So our intervention in the team that are there is that we can build a 2-bedroom permanent house for Bildad. We are going to start that foundation tomorrow. Wachimbe. On Monday, we are supposed to buy the materials and start building with whatever we have. Kindly partner with us. Support us. You can sacrifice 50, 100, 1,000, whatever. I know the permanent house is normally very demanding, but we can pull this so that in the next 7 days, we'll have painted a smile in the face of Bildad and the 4 children. May God bless you as you partake on this Sunday, so that I believe and I trust that when we come together in this.
Tangu nipate ajali, siwezi fanya kazi yoyote. Niko chini, hapa ndiyo nyumba yangu, niko na watoto 4 hapa. Sasa naomba tu, kama mnaweza munisaidie nipate nyumba mzuri. Juu hii nyumba yangu hata iko karibu kuanguka. Na hapa ndio nimelala na watoto. Haki naomba tu kwa unyenyekevu na moyo wa Mungu, munisaidie haki. Niko chini, siwezi na sina chochote.
Through the support, we are going to help this family. So join us as we change and restore his dignity. And my team from Migori, you can tell me where I can get materials. And watu wangu wako huko na mualishe bana. Kama uko na kuku huko, hata unaweza walisha. Unajua sasa wako wengi, wako kama watu 4, driver and the other 4, the other 3. So na mkiwa na kuku mnaniambia na walink huko, mnawapatia watapika. Hata kama na mahali wanaweza lala huko, wasilale kwa hoteli, pia tutashukuru. And that is what we do to work in the community. I will also join them later, but I had to remain in Nairobi for some other reasons. Basing leadership on tribe is one of the most fallacious and self-defeating habits in our politics. The tribal crown seems to be the highest expression of patriotism instead of loyalty to the country. This is a seed that we are blindly planting, thinking we are looking for political correctness. But in the long run, this is fire that can consume us. I've listened to several sound bites of Odinga, the late Raila Odinga, saying, think as a Kenyan first before you think about your tribe.
And you, think as a Kenyan first before you think as a member of the community here and there. I'm surprised all the times when I come here and people say they fear Raila. We have all the time been working together. Jaramogi is the one who stood up in parliament and said that Jomo Kenyatta and all those who detained with him were under the true leaders of Kenya. He was disowned by members who came from this region in parliament. God read the Hansard. But he went on and kept on saying Uhuru na Kenyatta until eventually Kenyatta was released. Kenyatta was released to Jaramogi. Jaramogi, who took Kenyatta to Gatundu, his home, he was released to Jaramogi's hand. Chukua hiyo Kenyatta yako. Deny. And Jaramogi and Kenyatta were one thing with independence. They only disagreed ideologically, not ethnically. Not because Jaramogi was a Luo or Kenyatta was a Kikuyu, no.
And the irony is the people who are masquerading as protecting his legacy are the ones that are doing this. Just after the reckless remarks from Tai Kahiga, Gladys Wanga, the Homa Bay governor, rushed to Kisumu to hold a press briefing where he threatened ban some people from getting to Bondo, to Monodinga. And it had to take Odinga family to act very fast to clear the air on this.
As what we're saying is, on the day of the burial, we wanted to have a private ceremony. And that's why we asked just to bury Baba within the family of Kangoka. What happened is, Kata, the people who are out here, the extended family, who were not known, were not able to come in. So the day after, we then tried to get all of them in, because as much as Baba is my father, he's their father as well. Now that things have settled down, what we're saying is we are welcoming all Kenyans, everyone, to come pay their last respects to Baba, to come to Kangoka Jaramogi. You are all welcome. Karibuni sana.
And I'm saying this because we are not doing well. There seems to be a selective messaging, and I dare ask with all fairness, what was Uhuru's problem attending Raila's funeral? Makosa iko wapi? Do politicians think, and that is a clip by Wanga, I cannot seem to understand. Do politicians think that the world stops and will end with politics?
Tell President Uhuru Kenyatta that when you retire as a president, you become the single most unifying factor for the nation. And today, President Uhuru Kenyatta is the only living retired president. Because we had President Jomo Kenyatta, he's late. We had President Mwai Kibaki, he's late. We had President Moi, he's late. So the only former president that we have who is living is President Uhuru Kenyatta. And therefore, he must be the father of the nation. He cannot be dragged into partisan politics because the nation is a fragile democracy. At any point, we can move and we can be divided. Because us as partisan politicians, we can divide the nation. There must be that one person who can be a uniting factor. And that should be a former head of state. So I just want to say that it is important for President Uhuru Kenyatta to guard that, to guard the sense of unity that he can provide to this nation. But if he...
Don't people have life? I analyzed the weekend events until the mortal remains of Odinga were buried in Bondo. And I think I can repeat what I saw there. All those leaders who were in Bondo, starting from the ODM leadership to the side of the state and all the others, the only leader who genuinely felt we can feel mourned Raila was former President Uhuru Kenyatta. You cannot, it's not sugar-coated. It's not something like stage managed. I remember the example he said in Nyayo, where he said, wakati tumekaa tukikunywa uji. You know, that is someone mourning a friend. You cannot compare that to the other corporate speeches that are written and are read with very big jargons and big English. I did not listen to anyone except people telling us about how we called. Baba called me. I called Baba. Baba talked to me. Baba told me that. Baba told me this. Instead of that, the person that spoke genuinely was the former President Uhuru Kenyatta. And I honestly don't understand what Wanga wants. Sijui. You got to compare the speeches from Wanga and how Nyong'o is composed. Then you'll understand that the voices that are very vocal and are prominent coming after Raila Odinga's funeral do not meet well for this country.
Tennessee, and I've been to that church. He said, I have seen the promised land, but I may not get there with you. Junior, I think you shared it with your dad. This positivism about our destiny. I heard you speak the other day, and that is something that you cherish as a heritage from your dad. I have seen the promised land. I may not get there with you. Definitely, it is not easy to accept that Jacom has left us. It will be very difficult to accept. It will continue to be difficult to accept. But let us get courage from the fact that before he left us, he said that there is the promised land which was struggling for Kenya to be better than it is today. And colleague governors, we must inherit that responsibility collectively, that where Kenya is not the promised land. But we have seen it. especially through the optimism of our leader, Raila Odinga.
I think the people who even are supposed to speak are the likes of Anyang' Nyong'o. We are not getting it right. The attack on former president is well coordinated. There's been this trending video. Farouk Kibet was addressing some event. I think it was in Malava. And the president's aide wanted to attack, demean something, opposition politicians. Instead, he chose to profile the Kikuyu axis in that opposition, selectively picked Rigathi, Karua, Mithika Linturi, Justin Muturi, and Uhuru Kenyatta.
Mumeona hata kwa kifo ya Raila, wale wa kabila wamejitokeza na wakasema hatu wamefurahi sana kwamba Raila Odinga amekufa. Ashindwe ama asishindwe. Hawa ni marafiki ambaye tunawaita marafiki ambaye hawafai kuwa katika dunia hii. Wamesema jana, mumeona gavana mzima ametumwa na ule mkabila aje akejeli watu wengine. Sisi tunaamini kwamba ujirani mwema itakusaidia kutembea. Sijui kama tunaelewana watu ya Malava. Nyinyi mnasema wale watu walitamuka yale maneno jana na wameweka watu hao. Mtawasikiza hao watu kweli hapa? Yaani wewe unasema eti Raila Odinga amefurahi sana kiwango kwamba wamesherekea. Sasa wewe watu wanasema pole. Wewe unasitisha ubaya kwa jamii.
You've got to understand, this speech was somewhere in Malava. And honestly, I think it really chokes me. Kama kuna kitu in this political analysis, even if nikiona, even if I do want to do a video, but if I see something on tribe, on this tribe thing, hiyo kitu inaudhi sana. Si kitu mzuri. And if someone is charging you to hate another, I saw when Farouk was talking there, some people were clapping. Swali ni, huyo mtu amekufanyia nini? Just ask. Someone wants to plant something in your mind that look here. So huo ni mbaya sana. When you want to carry all that, even you are listening to this podcast, unasikia kina Wanga, unasikia hiyo clip ya kina Farouk. You got to ask yourself, Uhuru amefanya nini? If you have an answer, please get to the comment section and tell me, amefanya nini? You will not get an answer because there is no answer, because there is no reason. It is just some political correctness. But I'll tell you that in the altar of looking for political correctness, we are actually doing an injustice to this country. I want to speak to something on post-Raila. We are almost 2 years to the next general election. If Raila, if a clique of leaders will be occupied with manufacturing hate objects for political survival, then I'm telling you, they have a long way to go. I saw this clip from Laikipia. Mwangi Kiunjuri was challenging the president in a very soft manner, but was sending a message telling the president that you need to fulfill your promises. Yes. And that is the direction the country is taking. This is the voice that will come. And I'm telling you, in 2026, most of our political analysis will actually revolve around what was promised and what has been delivered.
Kwanza wewe president, vita yako kubwa watu wanasema you promise lakini unapiga kona. Promises are good lakini fulfill your promises, na tutasaidiana kufulfill promises. Kama hapa tulikuja kuwasalimia kaniambia lakini wewe uko na promises mingi sana. Kitu promises nikajua unajua hii promise ni yangu na president. So tutalipa na wewe.
Yes, the deliverables are there. I'm seeing some roads are being advertised in, I don't know, in Siaya. I saw our MP talking about some roads being advertised. Fine, those are new roads. But we also have to understand that there are several other roads that were commissioned there. We want to see those roads coming to their logical conclusion and not the stories of, I know that contractor came, we know we pushed him, we changed contractor the other day. I don't know. You know, those literature that are used to justify a delay is also something that the public is going to take in 2027. So, and that is why I say that the country cannot afford to go the direction of tribalizing the country. I'm going to explain it, and the next couple of minutes I'll be out of your way. I'm going to explain to you about why it is a big blunder. I'll want to explain that. But remember, we are doing a project to support Bildad in Migori, a single father of 4 who got involved in an accident, and the wife disappeared, went and remarried, and now is living in a very, very bad condition. In a very bad condition of his house is very bad. And actually, if it rains in Migori, for those who are there, Bildad is really facing some very rough time there. So we are committing ourselves to build for him a 2-bedroom house from Monday. Of course, we are doing the foundation tomorrow. Then from Monday, we are going to put up what we have so that we can. Please support this with whatever you can so that tuweze kusaidia to restore his dignity. That is the project we are doing before the end of this month. In the next 6 days, I think we should be done with that. I said it in some video, I think you guys can remember. Those shouting, maybe we need to repeat it because ndio itaingia. Those shouting about how they can coalesce in a corner as tribe B, tribe A, they're actually doing a disservice to themselves because they might not even be having the numbers. The numerical advantage we don't have the numerical advantage. And this is why I say we. I have listened to some leaders say, as a party and as a community, we are left in government. We cannot work, we cannot leave government, and we must support William Ruto as a community and as a party. And I ask this question. When William Ruto was getting to the handshake with Raila Odinga, did he get to the handshake with the Luo community? No. The handshake was with Raila Odinga because in Raila was a household name that was going to bring in more votes from other areas. Now, if everyone in this country is going to vote based on his tribe, yes, let's assume Gema wametoa presidential candidate moja, Kalenjin moja, Luo moja, Kikuyu, Luhya moja, Coast moja. Will you even get the cabinet slots? We cannot afford to say that. I'm forced to make it that, to explain it that way so that it gets home. You understand why this is a very dangerous path, even for people who are talking about it. And the Wangas are they're beating drums that is not going to produce good sound. The masses are mobilized or manipulated to patronize tribes instead of what the leader has done. In fact, I need to, maybe to explain this, I need to ask. how does Uhuru Kenyatta, how does that affect delivery of services in Homa Bay County, in Siaya County, in Nyandarua County, in Kisumu? How does it affect? Maybe, how does it affect? I'm asking that question so that you understand that when the time for election comes, the people of Siaya will ask Governor Orengo from his CIDP. His opponents will ask him what he has done. In Migori, they will ask Ochile Yako what you have done. By that time, in Homa Bay, they will ask Wanga what you have done. They will not ask Wanga, how long or how loud have you been attacking so-and-so? It doesn't help at that point. Not even Mombasa, Abdul Swamad, those are the people that are fond of attacking. Those are not going to help. The long dream of uniting the country is collapsing in the altar of feel-good politics. There is something we need to address. It's called winner takes all. If by the time we get to election and the president we elect is elected based on tyranny of numbers between how Block A and Block B came together, then even the best president that has been produced from a tribal arithmetic will not be able to unite the country. Because someone will just feel like, us we've not got it because we are few. It is not something to be celebrated. And I feel that at this point, there are people that must be called in the table. And those who harbor plans to probably protect the legacy of Odinga, they must be told that this is not what post-Raila politics should look like. I think Kenyatta family and Odinga family are close and tight, and Wanga does not come close to it. This is not in good taste. Thank you.